All right, so I'm gonna do a little update on Undead Chronic here. So let me just do a recap real quick of how this all started. Essentially, I've followed Undead Chronic off and on. Followed in the sense that like I'll watch his videos maybe like once every 4 or 5 months and be like, oh yeah, Undead Chronic, that guy was funny in like 2017. You know, when his shock value of being so like being so like insulting to women was funny, and it's still kind of funny sometimes. But honestly, this guy really hasn't graduated from that. He just stays in that, and I guess he's like 25 now or 26, and he's been doing that for like all of his 20s. So it's like, dude, you need to grow and like go outside. Maybe you're making money from this, and it's crazy because essentially, well, anyway, how I started getting to this point of making this comment was I listened to his J-Mulv, John Anthony lifestyle exposure, and I thought it was decent. But I followed John Anthony over the years. Same way I follow Chronic. Like I listen to one of his videos like every couple months because it's funny and because like, particularly in J-Mulv's case, it's like everybody knows he's a fraud. I know he's a fraud. I study PUA. I'm a red pill guy who studies PUA, right? I'm not either fully red pill. I'm not either fully PUA. I'm just a red pill foundational guy who is not MGTOW. I just like the red pill. I follow red pill. I make red pill content. And I also have studied PUA, and I've gamed a lot in my life. And I've had girlfriends. I've had long-term girlfriends. I've had short-term girlfriends. I've had my heart broken. I've been through every kind of scenario you could think of with women. I'm in my 30s now. But any type of scenario you can think of, I've been through with women. So that's what qualifies me to even make statements like this, because I've been putting out red pill content videos since like 2015. Now, no, I don't have a big following like Undead Chronic, but I'm also pretty rational in my delivery. I'm not like doing it for shock value. I don't, I gave up the idea of making money off of my channel like a few years ago. I don't even care about it, any of that. For me, it's just about spreading the truth. And if 50 people watch one of my videos and it helps them out, cool, man. That's good enough for me. Like I do this shit for free. I do this because it helps people out. That's all. And so that's what qualifies me to, even make critiques. Is I'm not in competition with anybody else. I'm not trying to take anybody else down so I can make more money or anything like that. That's never been my goal. My goal has always just been to spread the truth and kind of create some efficacy in the manosphere and kind of help men out, right? Because I've been through it. Each one teach one. I want to help other guys out. So anyway, that's just a little bit of a background. So I follow Undead Chronic. I followed his expose of J-Mulv. I thought it was funny. I thought he did a good job. However, I noticed a lot of hypocrisy in Undead Chronic. So I said a couple things, and it's like, pride goes before a fall, man. Pride goes before a fall. If you get too big and you get too arrogant, people are going to come pull your card. You know what I mean? Like you got to stay humble. You got to stay low key. You got to fly under the radar and be chill with everybody, because you don't want to expose yourself, because everybody's got skeletons in their closet. Nobody's 100% perfect. Nobody's out here freaking Batman, right? Nobody's out here walking around, the most Chad of Chads, right? And some people, they don't know how to stop their ego. They don't know how to stop their arrogance, and they get too big for their own britches, to quote an old saying. And I generally show respect to content creators in the red pill, because content creators in the red pill usually speak the truth. And there's been a lot of calling out of frauds, and what I think is there's been I personally think a lot of it's a money grab, right? A lot of it is a money grab. A lot of the reason why red pill guys are going after other red pill guys is because they themselves want all the attention. They want all of the YouTube shekels, the YouTube revenue. They want all of the fans on YouTube, etc. And they want to tear other people down and call them out. Well, it hasn't worked, right? There's been attacks on Donovan Sharp. There's been attacks on Rollo Tomasi. There's been attacks on Richard Cooper. And I've had my qualms and criticisms of those guys, as I have so many other people, in the red pill arena. So it is what it is. I'm not trying to take anybody down. I just like to follow it. So what I think, the reason why this shit keeps going on is because these guys are in competition with each other. It's like the high school girls arguing or fighting with each other to see who's the hottest, and they're trying to take each other down. They're trying to psychologically damage the other one, so they'll so they won't be as much of a competition as the other ones. And it's like, it just exposes that they're all in it for the money, right? They're all in it for the money. So that's the whole reason why I even got into the ring, so to speak, with Undead Chronic. And it started out with me just posting something on one of his videos. I think it's in another one of my videos, the original thing I posted where I called him a hypocrite, and he started arguing with me, and then he tucked tail and ran. Essentially, we were going back and forth to a point up until where I said, dude, just answer the question. And instead, he wanted me to come on his show, or so essentially he's like, oh, come on the show and I'll answer the question. So it's like, we got to a certain point, and the point, basically was where I was like, hey, how are you calling J-Mulv a hypocrite if you're sitting there not following your own standards? You want a virgin, but you yourself say you have an 80 lay count. Whether or not that's true, only you know in your heart of hearts, but that's what you said. So let's just assume that's true, and you have an 80 plus lay count. What makes you qualified to have a virgin as a wife, man? That was my question to him, and he tucked tail and ran. I essentially said, why is it okay for you to have a double standard but not women? Why is it okay for you to sleep around but not women? And I basically called him a misogynist, and he just tucked tail and ran. He's like, oh, okay, well, come on my show, woo, woo, woo. And I said, why don't you just answer the question right now? And he's like, I'm not going to get into a online debate with you and write a paragraph and write an essay and all the excuses, the coping excuses that guys come up with when they know they're caught and they know they're called on the carpet. And he wanted me to come on his show so he could make a display out of me because I'm a hater, right? But essentially what happened was I went on his show and he didn't put me on air. So I was on his show. I think it was, let's see, today is Sunday night. I think I was on his show, or I signed up to his live stream Thursday, I believe. It was either Thursday or Friday, one of his live streams there. He has like 5 of them a week, which, okay, man, I don't know how you have time for that, but all right. So 5 live streams a week, something like that, and I was on the one on Thursday or Friday, sitting there waiting for him to put me on, and he never put me on. So, and I'm pretty sure he recognized the name because we were going back and forth, and now there's this comment. So he made this on this right here, and he made this, let's see, 4 days ago on Wednesday, I think. Yeah, on Wednesday he made this. So we started arguing around Monday or Tuesday, and then pretty much the next day or a day after he made this. When haters refuse to call into the show but think I'll write 10 pages in the YouTube comment section for them. So this post right here, which is like one of his, whatever you call this kind of post, it's a certain kind of post, but this post was basically made for me because he knew we were going back and forth and arguing, and so he tries to call me a hater, and he called me a beta, and he called me, excuse me, hold on. Sorry, I got an itch. He called me a beta, and he called me a simp or whatever, and I wasn't even defending J-Mulv. I was like, dude, I agree with you. J-Mulv is a fraud, and it's funny what you did. However, again, you're kind of a hypocrite. And then he started calling me all these names, and I was like, dude, first of all, you can't get through. Like 30 seconds without calling somebody a name, right? You're constantly insulting people, so it's like no wonder nobody wants you on their show. Right? No wonder nobody like Richard Cooper or Rollo Tomasi will like actually debate with you, because you're just vile. You're like so disrespectful that you're constantly dissing people, and like you can't even be serious for half a minute. And he goes, oh, well, don't you think I was serious with J-Mulv the whole time? And I was like, yeah, because you were trying to set him up, and you really weren't serious because you were mocking him, you were laughing, which is fine. J-Mulv is a fraud, and he's a sociopath, so like whatever. I mean, I don't care about that. I'm not upset that you diss J-Mulv, because J-Mulv is kind of a piece of crap human being. But again, that's your style. You diss everybody. You're not serious. That's why people who are serious, about the red pill, and who are serious about spreading red pill truth, whether they're profiteers or not, is beside the point, or maybe it's your whole point. It doesn't really matter to me. Those guys are serious about their content. Rollo Tomasi, Richard Cooper, Donovan Sharp, they're serious about their content. They don't want to debate with you because you're constantly insulting people, and you have a very sophomoric, amateur attitude, and you're kind of bad for the red pill. You're toxic for the red pill, as I said in another one of my videos. So, I said that to him, and he goes, oh, well, don't you think I and then he called me a hater, or no, he called me a beta simp in the very next comment. And I was like, You just did it. Like, you're not serious. You constantly insult everybody. You would get off the live stream with a Rich Cooper or Rollo Tomasi or Donovan Sharp or whoever you want to debate. You'd get right off the live stream with them, and then you start calling them names just like you did with Hammerhand with after you got off the live stream with J-Wolf. And again, I get it. J-Wolf should be called out, but you show nobody respect, so why should anybody show you respect? You're just a bottom line hypocrite, right? Anyway, so that all happened, and that's why he made that was the precipitator, or that led up to him making this post. And then on this post, yeah, this post right here he made 4 days ago, and then I came on here, and this is my response, and he pinned it. He pinned my response, so he knew exactly who it was he made this post over. It was over me, which is fine. I'm not, you know, I'm not a big name in the YouTube community, but at least I was big enough to trigger him enough, you know. Or I don't even think it was me being big enough. It was what I said that got under his skin. And you know somebody is scared, and you know somebody feels threatened and attacked when they try to put you on blast, and they're so concerned about it that they make a whole post about it, right? So he was so concerned about my comment that he made a whole post about it. And then when I commented and I said, "Cope, I asked a softball question, you tucked tail and ran," he fucking pinned it. So there you go. So that's why it tells me it was all about me. Obviously, I tagged his name, and then he responds and says, "Cope doesn't call in, LOL, beta Cope is funny." Now, he never gave me the name. I guess maybe he just assumed, or excuse me, not the name. He never gave me the number. I guess he just assumed that I follow him. I don't follow him. Like, I don't listen to his live streams. I don't even know he had live streams as much as he did until recently, because I don't follow the guy. He's not in my notifications. I haven't clicked on the notification link for him. Well, I have since, because, you know, since this happened, I've been clicked on the notifications for him. But before that, I was not following him in that way. In other words, I don't listen to your shit. I don't follow you like that. You're too toxic. You're constantly insulting. You're sophomoric. You're not serious about the red pill for the most part. You use the red pill, and some of your red pill content is correct, because obviously there's so much going on in society with toxic women and messed up materialistic women, that there's a lot of stuff to be said about it. So you're making a lot of points, and I thought you were funny back in the day, like 2017, but I stopped following you because you're just insulting all the time, and it kind of gets old, and it's kind of toxic, by the way, because, like, hey man, I want to grow. I want to get better. Like, yes, we know the red pill is out there. We know that, you know, this is female behavior, this is female nature, and they're getting away with it, So this is why the red pill is necessary to help men grow. But at the same time, if you're going to grow, like, you can't stay in the same spot. And the reason why you're staying in the same spot, underdeveloped chronic, is because, you know, here I am insulting you. But the truth is I'm not going to even, anyway, I'm not going to fucking call you by your little funny name. You know, I want to know your real name. My name's Jay Lee, right? That's my name. So what's your name? Undead. You call yourself Undead Chronic. What's your real fucking name? Because you hide behind shit. You got this sophomoric mindset, man. Be an adult. Be a red pill adult. You can't just, you got to grow. And probably the reason why you're not growing, dude, is because you get money from this, and you expect to be a millionaire off of this shit, and your channel's probably going to get taken down at some point. I don't really care about your channel. I'm not going to report it, but I know it's been taken down like 4 or 5 times already for hate speech. I never reported you. I always, you know, thought your videos were kind of funny until I was like, all right, this is the same shit over and over. You're just insulting women. Like, okay, it gets old, right? So I stopped following you, or I stopped watching you, even every couple months. But I did watch enough to notice that your shit got taken down a bunch of times. So, like, how do you expect to make $1 million if your channel keeps getting taken down? Now, maybe your army of orbiters, whatever you want to call them, your little red pill simps, orbiters, are gonna give you a bunch of money on Patreon or whatever. Like, cool, man. Like, I guess do you, and you're really invested in that, so you got to keep up this persona. But other people out here, we've got to grow. We can't just sit in our red pill rage stage. We can't just you know, we're not profiteers like you. Okay, maybe you're better than us at insulting women. Cool, man, good for you, like, whatever. But point is that I poked a hole in your whole logic, and it was an obvious hole that anybody could poke. I mean, like, you got double standards. It's obvious. You want a virgin, and you want her to be submissive to you, yet you yourself are walking around out there with an 80+ lay count, bragging about banging low quality women, and then you insult John Anthony and saying you know, he's got a low quality woman. You don't make a lot of sense, man. There's a lot of hypocrisy behind you, bro. So anyway, he pinned the question, and I go, pin the question so your fanboys can attack me, but you still running. So again, he didn't answer the question. At this point, I didn't even know how to call in because he didn't give me the number. He just said call in, but he didn't give me the number. And I was like, okay, what's the number? And he stopped talking to me. He just ducked out. And I was like, okay, well, how do I call in? I don't even know how to call in. So I'm like asking him for the number, and he didn't give it to me. And then, oh yeah, I ask again for the number here. You could have easily answered me in the comments because it's a simple question. It is a softball question, like I said up here. It's a softball question, and he basically ducked out right when I asked it. So, so I said, "What's the number and when's your next live?" Like I don't know how often he goes live. I don't know the number. Turns out it's not even a number. I just click on a link or something, and I didn't even know that because again, I don't follow the guy. So I said, "Go to my channel. You can see screens of the convo." And now he's trying to mock me, and I said, "You still running?" Da da da. And then guys jump in and try to start defending him. And it's true, like I gave him a yes or no question, right? I'm not trying to build up my channel. I'm just trying to call a spade, dude. Why don't you just change? Chronic. I'll just call you Chronic. Nah, fuck it. You're underdeveloped Chronic. You called me a bunch of names. You called me a simp. You're underdeveloped Chronic. You know, am I going to stoop to your level? Oh, well, underdeveloped Chronic. So listen, underdeveloped Chronic, you called me a bunch of names, and, you know, why don't you grow? Why don't you stop calling people names? Why don't you change? Why don't you live up to your own standards? Why don't you become moral yourself? You know what I mean? And if you don't want to, just admit it, because it's better to just be like, yeah, I'm a hypocrite. I admit it. You know, I got double standards. And in fact, you don't even have to be a hypocrite. Just stop putting women down so much. Like you don't have to do that, but I guess you do have to do that because you make money doing that. But we all know about the red pill, and I guess you're just, you know, you're an entertainment channel. You know, we all know what the red pill is. So I guess there's a lot of young men out there who are hurt from getting rejected by women, and they haven't figured out how to like not be hurt after getting rejected, which is a thing. Like you learn how to not be hurt by it. You cold approach or you hit up women wherever you can, and you get rejected, and that's a part of life, and it is what it is. Like you don't have to red pill rage over it. And yeah, there's a lot of crappy stuff that women do, and we talk about that on the red pill, but you don't have to be so upset about it. So I know there's a lot of, I guess there's a big market for that because a lot of guys are getting rejected. I guess that's what it is. So a lot of young men, so they're supporting you, giving you money, and so you don't want to change. I get it, bro, but I'm still calling you out. So I say, nah, he needs to explain to himself on a simple concept, pretty easy and basic, but he knows he's not on the level, and he knows my question got him cornered, so he deflects and runs. Call in, beta boy. Again, up until this point, I still didn't know the number. He never gave me the number. He just kept saying call in. Never gave me the instructions on how to call in. He just kept saying call in, like assuming that I'm following him like that. Right, so I guess he's arrogant. I guess it just gets to your head when you get a bunch of followers and people, and he probably thinks he's YouTube famous or something. And I guess in a way he is, but should that make you arrogant, or should you still be humble? Like, you know, have a good character. How about that? You know what I mean? How about be a down to earth, approachable guy, a likable guy, instead of being all arrogant and acting like everybody should follow you and know everything about you. Like, dude, what are you, Kanye West? You know what I mean? Like, calm down, bro. You're just a red pill guy who sits in a corner on YouTube and complains about women, just like a lot of us. But anyway, dodges the direct question and tries to mock like any basic politician, in it for the money. Exactly. Right. Call in. Yeah, I don't know how to call in yet. And this guy's even saying phone in. It's not even a thing. You gotta. It's log in. It's not phone in. So at this point, I'm still thinking it's a number. Right. I asked for the number. Da 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 da. And then I kind of say again, he could have just answered the question, and I'm definitely interested in how he justifies himself on this one, right? Anyway, then I start talking to all his little simp followers. Da 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 da. People accusing me of like trying to build up my channel, which not really. This isn't about building up my channel. And people are like, you know, speaking for him. You think you're owed a response, and this is what happens when people get low key, lightweight famous. People come out of the woodwork to like fame is a weird animal, man. People defending you, da 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 da. And anyway, then I called him a misogynist, which he basically is, because he's being a hypocrite, not because he called out women for sleeping around, because that should be called out. But the difference is that he's a hypocrite because he has double standards, and essentially it alludes to the fact that he wants a woman to be subservient and subjected to him, which is basic misogyny, right? And you get that you get that impression the more you listen to him talk about his ideal relationship with a virgin. Like, good luck, bro. There ain't no virgins out here. But and even if you did find one, like, you got an 80+ lay count. Your career and your occupation is to diss women, and you make money off of that, and you've projected yourself to make at least $1 million over your lifetime over that, which is what you said on J Mulv's expose of him that you did. That specifically, if he doxed you, you would lose out on $1 million in your lifetime, because that's how much you project to make from your YouTube channel. So your whole life is you're all in, dude. You're invested in this quote unquote undead chronic channel, right? So what are you going to offer a virgin if you're undead chronic your whole life who hates women? And yeah, you do kind of hate women. Like, I've been accused many times in my life of hating women just for exposing women, but really that's just me exposing the truth. You are literally insulting every single woman in the worst possible way, which makes you look bad, and it makes the red pill look bad when you talk about women that way. Now, I don't respect these women, you know, that I talk bad about, you know, in the sense that they have loose character, loose immorality, don't know how to treat men, etc., etc. I don't necessarily respect them, but I don't sit there and insult them using vulgar curse words. And just, it's clear from the tonality and the indication in your voice that you think these women are less than trash. And for the most part, many of them might have morals that are trashy, but people can be redeemed. And these women are supposed to be mothers. These women are supposed to be wives and daughters. And we should hope that they get better. We should hope that they change, and we should hope that society itself gets better, because when our women and our wives and our daughters and our mothers are messed up and immoral, that makes our whole society messed up and immoral. So should we just throw the baby out with the bathwater and just throw the human overboard, right? Should we just or should we try to save them, or try to set some kind of example, or set up some kind of standards that the next generation can do better, or we can actually save our women from being, you know, as horrible as they are, right? So it's just, there's a line, you know, there's a line between telling the truth and being just horrible to the people that you're talking bad against. And you're being really horrible to these women, which is whatever. I'm not here to be Captain Save-A-Ho or Captain Captain Simp sticking up for women who have bad behavior. I'm not going to stick up for them per se in that way, but you are giving the red pill a bad name by not being classier than they are. Yes, they're immoral. Yes, they do a lot of bad things. Yes, we need to have education on the red flags and how to avoid these type of women and how to choose better women. Yes, we need all of that. That's why the red pill is necessary. But if you're not any better than them, if you're just as low as them in your behavior and how you react to their bad behavior, then you're giving the red pill a bad name. You're giving us all a bad name, man. You know, you seemingly haven't graduated from your red pill rage. You seem to have a lot of vitriol and hate towards women who are immoral, and you can disdain the sin and still love the sinner, right? I'm not saying everybody should love. Well, it would be nice if everybody loved everybody, but it doesn't mean we're tolerant necessarily of the sin. We can call it out and we can expose it. But if we're just totally trashing and throwing these women away verbally, what example does that set? It's going to make a lot of young men think that it's okay for them to be angry and hate women, and it's not creating an environment of love for our world. It's not creating an environment of forgiveness and positivity for our world, which a lot of guys out there are trying to create. Specifically, think about white pill guys. White pill guys are trying to do that. You could do that, Undead Chronic, but you're not, because it doesn't make money. You're not, because being positive is not as entertaining as being a foul-mouthed trash talker, you know. And even speaking of which, somebody like Tom Likas, who made a career off of it, even he wasn't as foul-mouthed as you are. Even he wasn't as negative and toxic as you come across. And he made a complete career out of it and made millions of dollars on radio. And he did it in a classy way where he was able to tell the truth in a way that didn't seem like he wanted to wish harm on the opposite sex, and it really seems like you don't care. Anyway, that's kind of my qualm, essentially, right? You're giving the red pill a bad name, man. We need to be better than the type of people that we're talking, down against, right? And it's not that we're even judging or talking down per se. It's that we're exposing a behavior and a truth that goes on in society. And if we're no better than that behavior or truth, then what does it say about us? And you make us look bad, right? You're giving fuel and fire to the feminists who are out here, looking for fuel and fire against us. But I don't expect you to change because you're making money off it. Anyway. So he never gave me the number like he claimed. He's ducking me, but at the end of the day, he could easily answer my question in the chat. Asked him a simple question, and then people started attacking me. He wants a virgin. And then he started talking about the biblical values and stuff, and it's like, dude, I gotta stop you right there because the Bible does not allow for guys to go out and sleep around. And also, this is a good point here. If only 50% of marriages end in divorce, marrying a non-virgin is not a guarantee for separation. 50% doesn't end in divorce. Now, I'm not saying that those marriages are happy. I've talked about this a lot on my channel before. How many of the 50% that stay married longer than 10 years or whatever, which is the average, I think it's 8 years is the average before there's a divorce. It's either 8 or 12. I think it's 8. The average before there's a divorce. What about the 50% that actually last longer than that? That last 20, 30, 40 years. What about that 50%? Maybe it's lower than 50%. I don't know. But are they happy? Maybe, and if they are, then I'm sure that, they weren't virgins when they met. I would say yes. In general, the lower the lay count that a woman or a man, really, because also a man going into a relationship with a high body count, he also has a hard time to pair bond. I bet a lot of guys didn't know that guys have a hard time pair bonding if they have a high lay count. Anyway, but if 50% stay married, then that means marrying a non-virgin is not a guarantee for separation, as Undead Chronic tries to make it out, right? So his stats are skewed to his viewpoint, which is off base somewhat. Some of what he says is right on, and I agree with some of what he says on a fundamental level. But a lot of what he says is, where he takes it and where he runs with it, a lot of times is off, and also obviously his character is off. So yeah, he's just doing it for YouTube shock value. If he ever marries, the probability of him marrying a virgin is laughable. That's another point, is how are you going to find a virgin, particularly if all you do is diss women online? You think that's attractive to women? Like, as your job, you're just dissing women online? Like, anyway. I mean, there's some red pill women out there. Like, Donovan Sharp has his wife or girlfriend or whatever the hell she is, Devin. He has her on his show, and she partakes in some roasts of some women. And so there's always rarities like that. Anyway, still looking for the number. 3 days ago, still looking for the number. Still don't know how to call in. And then I make this point here. This guy tries to really call me out. He's like, oh, you said a whole bunch of responses. You said how half the responses, shave your neck, beard, man. That's funny. You look as desperate as that, as a 29-year-old. That's kind of funny. Yeah, I'm responding a lot because I don't give a fuck. Go to the store and get a big steak, a real one, not a soy bait. This guy's kind of funny. I'm laughing at this. Cook the steak. Eat it to get your testosterone levels up. That's funny. Steak is pretty bomb, huh? This also should help with the moons. What does that mean? The periods or something? A full mammary reduction surgery maybe here. The moons. What does he mean? He's talking about man boobs or something? I don't even know. That's kind of funny. Take up a hobby that has real world benefit. Woodworking here. I agree with that. That's a good one. Please get help as you defend a complete closeted troll named Underdeveloped Chronic. I'm the one who needs help. All right. Yeah, so I call him out and I said, on that same note, your hero, Underdeveloped Chronic, makes 3 videos a day, 4 hours each video, and you follow him. You probably smoke herb like him too and didn't know it raised your estrogen level. That's funny. It is kind of funny and ironic that a dude, his whole persona is centered around him being this, like, wannabe Sigma pot smoking weightlifting guy, and we never get a chance to see if he actually lifts weights. We never get a chance to see what his bench press is, because he won't put his face on, which is fine. You don't have to put. I don't. You know, it's like, I get it. You know, but the point is like, he talks all this shit about weightlifting, but we don't know if he's big or strong. He could be chubby. He sounds kind of like a chubby guy to me. He doesn't sound like a buff alpha dude, because buff alpha dudes, if they're really buff and alpha, they don't have time to make videos dissing women. They're actually out getting laid in real life. Anyway, and yeah, weed raises estrogen levels. So if you smoke a lot of weed, your estrogen levels are raised, and all kinds of other problems that cannabis, the THC in cannabis can cause. CBD oil, on the other hand, from hemp is very quality and very helpful for a lot of different things. But THC has a lot of negative side effects, one of which is it raises your estrogen. Ironic. You're defending a guy telling me to eat a steak to raise my testosterone, and you're defending a guy who smokes weed all day, which raises your estrogen levels. Isn't that funny? And then you know, I get some attackers, more attack. Still don't have the number 2 days ago, still have no idea. And then finally, somewhere in here, people say, oh, nobody owes you an answer. Yeah, keep defending your guy. And then I get some guys come in and say some things that make sense, as opposed to a man who often uploads over 20 hours of content a week of him hanging out on the chat server with other outcast males. That's a great point, man. If he's constantly and gets paid to because other people want to hear the conversation. I mean, yeah, people want to hear the conversation because they're angry too, and like, he helps out their anger, so they're gonna pay him to like essentially have a circle jerk pity party. Like, dude, I get it. You know, the red pill content can be cathartic, but at the same time, like, I've never paid anyone for it. Like, I go on and I mean, the truth is the truth, and I made videos about that in the past, specifically calling out Richard Cooper and Donovan Sharp and Rollo Tomasi about whether or not they should charge, you know, to speak the red pill truth. I always felt that the red pill truth should be free, but at the same time, I kind of made it a point to say, you know what, I'm not going to hate on somebody for making their money. It is what it is. I understand it, but I actually didn't see this this comment. I'm gonna have to, because actually me and this guy were actually having a decent conversation within all the hating comments. But yeah, man, so anyway, I'm gonna end this, and then I called, and I said, you know, a couple minutes ago, I say I did call in. So I called in, I think it was Thursday or Friday. I think it was Friday, because it must have been like right after, because it said that I said this 2 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago. He refused to give me the number, so I didn't even know 2 days ago. And then I logged on randomly to YouTube, and he was having a live stream, and I was like, let me go to this live stream and see if he has the number up. And he actually, I had to tag him, and then finally he gave me the, so he actually did eventually, it was on Friday 2 days ago, he actually did eventually give me the link. But he was dodging me forever, and he gave me the link this time, but he knew I was coming right on, but he didn't let me in the chat. So I don't know how long I waited, but I waited, and then the live stream ended, and he didn't put me on the chat. So, I mean, that kind of sounds like he's ducking me. Like, what I'm saying is pretty obvious. Anyway, this is gonna be the last video I make about this, because it is what it is. But yeah, this would be a good last word. It's one thing to make a few videos exposing modern female bad behavior. That's red pilled, and in order to help other men out there on what type of women to avoid and red flags to look out for. It's another thing to be a straight up closeted, hateful, misogynistic weirdo making a dozen live streams a week about how much you hate the opposite sex and whining about how you can't find a virgin you can't subjugate. My grammar is actually off. It's about how you can't find a virgin you can subjugate, not can't subjugate. But anyway, there you go. There you go, man. So I mean, that pretty much sums up Undead Chronic. Like, or I should say Underdeveloped Chronic. He just whines about how he can't find a virgin, and he makes money from other guys who are whining about how they can't find virgins. And really, they're probably just mad because no women want to sleep with him. You know what I mean? Like, this whole, I don't know if I ever really believed his bravado. It's kind of a lot of times guys who put on a front of a bravado, they're really kind of weak guys, and they gotta fake it until they make it. And particularly like John Anthony, he's a good example. He says he's got a lay count of 1,400, and I doubt he's got a lay count of 30. And if he does have a lay count over 30, it's probably because he's been paying these Brazilian escorts for sex, which isn't, I wouldn't even put that on my lay count, because lay count should be like, you know, voluntary and not a monetary transaction. It should be romantically voluntary, not financially based transaction. Anyway, I doubt A Day Chronic is as cool as he comes across on his, is as cool in real life as he tries to make himself out to be on his little channel. He talks a good game about himself, but I doubt he probably even goes out to the bars on the weekends. And if he does, I doubt he polls very often, because it's like, if you're really polling often, like, what happens when you're actually getting a woman in bed and women actually respond to you, not because of your money, but because of your person, your character, and how cool you are, etc., and how attractive you are physically and things. But what happens is you start to have a good self-esteem, and you don't even want to, like, you know, sit around and be angry at women. Like, at a certain point, like, I feel like most of my videos are coming from an informative place where I'm just trying to inform and speak the truth of my experience and what I know, so other guys could be like, yeah, that makes sense, I'm gonna look out for that, and I know what red flags to avoid, etc. I feel like my channel is mostly education, and some of it's cathartic. There's a lot of videos that I made because I was upset, or videos that I made in a kind of cathartic way to get stuff off my chest, but it was still truth based. I'm not dissing. It's not dissing based for the most part. I probably have a few videos where I might be talking crap, but, like, for the most part, I would say 95% of my videos are not just talking crap. They're educational based, informational based, to expose female nature, to expose modern red flags, modern character and bad behavior of what to look out for in women who have the Jezebel spirit, of toxic succubus women, narcissistic women, to talk about a lot. Talk about simps too. Talk about how a lot of the modern left and the modern SJWs, the simps, the blue pill guys are toxic in general for society and bad for men in general. That's what I talk about on my channel. It's just about truth. And I know that the way I talk is kind of like a lecture at a college, or kind of like a high school teacher lecturing his students about something, and so that's not very palatable. I get it. That's why not a lot of people listen to my videos. Maybe I'm not that entertaining because I just shoot this from the hip. Everything is impromptu. Everything is off the dome. I used to try to write stuff out when I first started my YouTube channel, like back in 2015, 16, 17. I used to try to go by a format, but now I just pick a subject in my head and then I talk about it from my experience, and it takes me like 30 minutes each video, because that's how much I have to talk about one specific thing most of the time. Some of my videos are shorter. Some of them, a very few of them, are like under 5 minutes. A couple of them are under 2 or 3 minutes, but most of them are like 30 minutes, because that's how long I have to talk about one subject, because I've got lots of experience. I've got 30 plus years of experience dealing with female behavior, dealing with girlfriends, dealing with bad exes, bad breakups, heartbreak, the red pill. Should I go MGTOW? What is a real MGTOW? Should you get married? Should you do this? What about meeting her parents? What about meeting her family? What are shit tests? What is what red flag? How do you know when she's cheating on you? What red flags to look out for in this situation? What red flags look at? That's all my channel's about. Is all information, right? I'm not dissing. It's not about hating on women per se. It's about what to look out for if you're taking the red pill. Truth. If you are considering dating, if you're gonna go MGTOW from every angle, because I wanted to. I'm not making any money off it. It's because I wanted to help, and that's why very few people listen to my channel. But I tell you what, I get a lot of really good feedback. I get a lot of people saying, hey man, this is really necessary for the community. This is really important. for men, this is good for society. This is, you know, people complimenting me saying, hey man, this is an awesome video. It's a shame you don't have more views. It's a crime that more people aren't subscribing. And I'm not even saying that so I can get more subscribers. My content is not for everybody. I'm just trying to help people, the people who listen to me, as much as I can. And I'm not a perfect person. You know what I mean? I'm not perfect, and I don't try to be, and I'm not trying to make a successful money grab channel. It's not what I'm about. But anyway, so I'll leave it here, man. And the only reason I even did all this is because, like, sometimes there's just people that you got to call out, you know. And like I said, I've called out Rollo Tomasi myself. I've called out Richard Cooper. I've called out Donovan Sharp. I'm just a little old channel. Nobody even made waves. Actually, Donovan Sharp's wife or girlfriend, Devin, commented on a couple of my videos that I was calling him out and tried to argue with me way back in the day. I think that was like 2 years ago. And I just, you know, I just spoke to her the truth and whatever, and then, you know, eventually she went away. But I didn't agree on some things that he was saying, because even Donovan Sharp comes across misogynistic. And yes, I'm fine with using that word. It doesn't make me, calling another guy does not make him a simp. Calling another guy a misogynist does not make him a simp. There is such a thing as misogynists out there, just like there's such a thing as misandrists out there. They're out there, just like there's racists out there, just like there's hateful people out there. Whatever. There is those type of people out there. Just because somebody is in the red pill and talking about bad female behavior does not necessarily mean they're misogynistic. That's not what I'm saying at all. But somebody who really wants to subjugate women, it really puts women down, it really disrespects all women as a whole. And like, now if you're only talking about the bad behavior of toxic women, like, that doesn't make you a misogynist. But that's not all undead is doing, or I should say underdeveloped chronic is doing. That's not all he's doing. He's really insulting most women. He's really putting most women down. And the fact that he says he wants a virgin, that kind of clues me off to misogyny. I mean, we all want women with a low body count, but let's be realistic. A virgin, that's a little weird. But even still, okay, you want a virgin, cool. Like, I wouldn't mind necessarily finding true love and marrying a virgin. I wanted to be married since I was like 15, 16. So like, if that's the case, then cool, let's do that. But in reality, like, I don't think you want a virgin just because of the purity thing only. I think you want a virgin because they're easily controllable. That's the vibe I get about you, underdeveloped chronic. And you just have a real kind of controlling, chauvinistic kind of personality where, like, you're always trying to be in competition with everybody. You're not cool and chill. You think you are, but you're not really. You're kind of constantly debating and attacking people, and you do it for views. I get it, but that's not a cool, attractive trait to women. You know what I mean? And I don't know, man. It's just you really come across as a guy who really hates women. And like, I've been called that too, specifically because I've spoken a lot of red pill truths. But there's a difference, again, between speaking a red pill truth and really just putting all women down and calling them horrible names and saying horrible things about them. Like, yeah, no, I don't want to marry 304 either, but like, I'm not going to sit around and just diss them and call them names and all these things. I mean, I think many of them are pretty low in character, but I'm not gonna just make my whole channel about insulting them for shock value. Like, that's kind of misogynistic, man. I don't know, but anyway, maybe you guys want to call me out on that. Whatever, it is what it is. I'm tired right now to even defend it, but all right. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. This has been my kind of my expose of undead chronic and kind of my talking about it. If you've listened this far, you're a champ, and you know, I wish you blessings and red pill truths and many great days ahead of you, you know, in all positiveness, even to people who don't like what I'm saying. All right, appreciate you listening. Jay Lee, Northwest Podcast. Peace.